One Piece is single-handedly one of the greatest pieces of fiction ever written. This epic tale of ambition has no shortage of jaw-dropping moments. Trust me, there will be times when you'll just wonder how the hell Oda-sensei even comes up with these completely insane scenarios. And the betrayals mentioned in this video are exactly those moments that left me shocked and with even more anticipation for this great anime. And what better way to begin this video than discussing Corazons' betrayal of his loving brother. This betrayal confused so many people because Corazons' actions seemed to make no sense. Sure, he was working for the Marines, and yes, his brother Doffy was an absolute psychopath who needed to be stopped, but he also loved Corazon and would do anything for his younger brother. So why did Corazon betray him in such a cold-blooded way? Well, I think this is a great example of how well Oda-sensei understands human relationships. Corazon's actions can't be defined as good or bad. He's just a man who feels responsible for his brother's vicious bloodlust and wants to do something about it. And I believe many of us were kind of moved by his actions because we understood that he was never given a good choice. So he did what he thought was right and gave us one of the most unforgettable moments in the entire series. At number 9, we have Capone Betrayal's gutsy betrayal of Big Mom. It all started when the Mafia boss teamed up with Straw Hats in the whole Cake Island arc. Now this one was special for a lot of reasons. First of all, no one likes the old hag, so it was nice to see her lose more and more people from her inner circle. This betrayal also helped Chiffon get out of her mother's clutches, and most importantly, it ruined Big Mom's perfect wedding and created one of the most infamous moments in the entire series. Next up we have Squad, whose betrayal of Whitebeard is actually one of the most emotionally charged moments in the entire series and showed us the greatness of Whitebeard. We all know how much Whitebeard cares about his crewmates. Hell, he considers these guys to be his children. Squad is also extremely loyal to Whitebeard, but he's just a man and has his own weaknesses. Akainu uses this weakness to make him stab the man he respects the most. However, Whitebeard doesn't get mad at him. Instead, he takes Squad in his arms because he understands how his son feels. This emotional reply breaks Squad, who loses his hatred for Ace and once again becomes the most loyal servant to Whitebeard. At number 7, we have Pudding's betrayal of Sanji. Now, this was really shocking and hard to watch because our boy Sanji was already sacrificing so much for this marriage. Pudding was not only cute, but also showed a lot of kindness to him. However, his dreams of a happy married life were crushed in the most brutal way possible. He overheard his future wife while she was spilling how much she hated him. Not only that, she was also planning to betray and kill him. And yet even after knowing all of that, Sanji didn't give up on her. He not only went along with her charade, but even told her that he loved her third eye. This was the turning point for Pudding. She couldn't believe someone could like her third eye, and it made her realize just how much Sanji loved her. Pudding's change of heart is exactly why this betrayal is so damn special. Another shocking betrayal was uncovered when Kanjuro revealed his true loyalties during one of the most talked about episodes in the Wano arc. I'm sure many of you didn't really trust Kanjuro even before this reveal. After all, the man just gave off weird and kinda creepy vibes. However, no one could ever imagine that a samurai of the Red Scabarbs could turn out to be a mole for Orochi himself. And if the shock of his true identity wasn't big enough, Kanjuro proceeded to psychologically torture his comrades by kidnapping Momo and making them fight an Oden clone. I mean, you can't really get more messed up than that. Luckily, Kanjuro wasn't the only samurai with hidden agendas. As it turns out, the most loyal servant to Oden and his son was hiding among the enemies. I'm sure many of you have already figured out that I'm talking about the one and only Kyoshiro, whose betrayal of Orochi turned the tide of battle against Kanjuro and the Beast Pirates. It turns out his real name is Denjudo, who was part of the 9 Scabbards when Oden was killed. However, unlike the rest of his fellow retainers, he didn't go to the future. Instead, he spent those 20 years getting ready to overthrow the man who executed his master and took over his country. And he finally made his intentions clear in the most explosive way possible. When we're talking about shocking betrayals, we have to mention the one Iceberg suffered at the hands of CP9 during the Water 7 saga. Now, this one comes relatively early on in the anime, and it probably was the first time I felt betrayed by certain characters. It all started when the Marines planted men in the Galileo Company to find the blueprints of Pluton. What's shocking is just how long CP9 members waited to earn Iceberg's trust. It's probably why this betrayal hits so hard, because just like the mayor of Water 7, we also started to think of these people as friends and family. Luckily, however, Luffy and the others made it there in time to stop these monsters from getting their hands on the blueprints for this ancient weapon. Another scene that left my jaw on the floor was the moment when Kaido takes off Orochi's head in front of everyone. I mean, I had the same reaction as these guys. But while I was surprised, I sure as hell wasn't sad. The snake Hirochi deserved this fate. For the way he destroyed Wano and humiliated its former shogun, he deserves nothing but pain, and that's exactly what he gets. He not only gets beheaded 7 times, but also gets burned alive, which might seem disturbing to you, but it's actually a fitting end for a monster who loves boiling his competitors. The day Sanji left Luffy behind after accepting a marriage with Pudding was a dark day for One Piece fans. Toei Animation raised the stakes even higher with an hour-long episode that was being marketed by telling the story of how Judas betrayed Jesus. This was the day I realized that these Japanese studios are fucking crazy. But even if this betrayal didn't change history, it sure as hell left many people uncertain about the future of Straw Hats. And any hope we had of Sanji coming to his senses was gone when he kicked Luffy hard enough to knock his teeth out. And he did all that to keep Big Mom away from his friends. As I've previously explained, this betrayal did have a good ending, but for a lot of weeks, Toei Animation kept giving us ulcers with the way they told this emotional story. Now, before I reveal the most shocking betrayal in all of One Piece, I would really appreciate it if you can just smash that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any future uploads or I can't less. Even though many of the betrayals on this list have been absolutely brutal, nothing shocked and hurt the viewers more than Blackbeard's war against the man who gave him a life. Remember the time when Teach was just a crying kid who begged Whitebeard to take him on as a crewmate. And now, years later, he turns out to be the one who backstabs and takes out the strongest man in the world. Honestly, I can't even begin to explain the impact of this betrayal on the entire series. It gave us some extremely important answers and left us in a rather gloomy world. And how can we forget the insane battle that took place as the legendary Whitebeard made his last stand to avenge his beloved sons? Truly, one of the greatest betrayals in all of anime. And that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.